Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Okay, so this producer for Marvel, who is responsible for a lot of the problems at Marvel, has been fired. He's leaving. From Deadline, Marvel executive Nate Moore leaving studio as he transitions into producing. This is a very sensitive subject for Marvel. They actually do care about their relationship with this guy. Why would they care? Well, they're getting rid of all the elements that he helped add over at Marvel. Him and Victoria Alonso. And it's important to understand, too, while Nate Moore was responsible for producing a number of Marvel's failures, Elementals is one you might have heard of, he also had a policy of restricting hiring writers for other Marvel projects if the writers were actually fans of the comic books. Because the reason they brought Nate Moore in was to make Marvel a progressive film studio. Literally, that is why they brought the guy in. He was one of the founding employees of Participant Media, which also recently failed. From The Hollywood Reporter, how modern Hollywood doomed Jeff Skoll's Participant Media dream. Participant Media was what you would call a purpose-driven studio. They put out an interesting documentary called An Inconvenient Truth, which was relatively popular. It was their most popular project they put out, but the rest of their progressive junk really didn't make money. And then ultimately, the billionaire said, okay, I've lost enough hundreds of millions of dollars on this. We're shutting it all down. But that's where Nate Moore really came from. That's what they expected him to do. He did do that for Marvel. He brought them tremendous amounts of failure, and now he's out. Now, while they are throwing this guy out, they are still allowing him to be a producer on Black Panther as he transitions into an independent producing role, which means to say he doesn't have a deal to produce with Marvel. He doesn't have a deal to produce with Disney, which would have been very easy for them to offer that to him if the kinds of things that Nate Moore is capable of making was the kind of things that Disney actually wanted to make going forward. They do not. It's not just about Marvel anymore. They're getting rid of all the TV and film projects that have no legitimate audience interest and are all just tied to being purpose-driven and pushing agendas. Even for Pixar recently, from The Hollywood Reporter, Disney pulls transgender storyline from Pixar's Win or Lose streaming series. There was going to be a transgender storyline. Disney decided, you know what? No, actually, we're going to take that out because it's not like we need that to please the audiences. Here's what a spokesperson for Disney actually said about removing that transgender storyline. Quote, when it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline, as if to actually respect the parents. Of course, that should go without saying, but Disney's still going to need to say that for quite a while because they didn't respect parents. Now they've been forced to respect parents because they want their stock to go up. From The Hollywood Reporter, Marvel veteran Black Panther producer Nate Moore leaving studio. The longtime executive will transition to independent producing and will be part of the Black Panther 3 producing team. He was part of Black Panther when the Black Panther project first came on. But I can assure you this, he won't be making the final decision when it comes to, is this appropriate for the audience or not? He can make suggestions, he can come up with ideas, he can talk to the talent, but he's not going to be making the final decisions on anything anymore, especially not for Marvel. Respected Marvel Studios development executive Nate Moore is leaving the studio to pursue independent producing without a producing deal. That is not a compliment. That's like getting cut off at the knees. When they threw Victoria Alonso out, I let people know she's going to get paid millions of dollars in a settlement. And a lot of people said, no, she's terrible. She's been ruining Marvel. Why would they give her millions of dollars in a settlement? And I said, hey, because that's what happens when you're at a studio in a high-level position. And she was in a very high-level position at Marvel. And they throw you out the door like on a Friday, like, no, you can't come back here. We're going to walk you out of the building, which is pretty much what they did to her. She deserved that. She didn't deserve a big settlement, but her contract called for it. And she had a relationship with a major multi-billion-dollar company. That's what happens. Unfortunately for Nate Moore, they weren't willing to throw him out the door. They're willing to let him stay until this movie comes out, Captain America: Brave New World. February 14th, 2025. It's like Christmas time now, so he's not going to be starting any new projects or doing any work. He may not even go into the office before that movie comes out. But it's widely expected that movie is not going to do well because the buzz has been all negative on it. They've done multiple reshoots. The audience responses to their reshoots are also negative, and it was, again, another progressive take on a Marvel brand. Moore will remain with Marvel through the release of February's Captain America Brave New World, and will also produce a third Black Panther feature down the road. And he'll make millions of dollars for that. Don't get anybody wrong on that one. Because when you're tied into a project, you're going to get paid on sequels. Nate Moore joined Marvel in 2010 and produced Black Panther, the Ryan Coogler-directed film that became a cultural and box office phenomenon, grossing more than $1.3 billion and earning a Best Picture nomination at the Oscars. It ultimately won 3 statues at the Academy Awards and helped dispel tired Hollywood notions that movies starring black casts do not perform overseas. I think as long as a movie is great, it's going to do well no matter who the cast is. But to take that film and say, well, it's a black-starred movie, but not say, it's actually like part of the Avengers franchise that was a multi-billion-dollar franchise at the time. Marvel had spent, 10 years or whatnot building up the momentum behind Marvel's characters and continuity and storyline. And yeah, Black Panther was a big part of that, just the same as Captain Marvel was a part of that. And he benefited from that. And that's not to say it's not going to do well when it's Black Panther 3, as long as it's a good movie. It actually just has to be a good movie, as shocking as that is. Skin color won't sell a movie. Gender won't sell a movie. They just don't. It has to be good now. As Nate Moore told The Hollywood Reporter in 2018, the stakes were high for Black Panther. Quote, if this film does not work, it will become a reason to not make films like this. Because man, if Marvel, which opens movies with a raccoon and a tree, can't open Black Panther, hey, I guess these movies don't travel. And maybe this was a joke from Nate Moore, but being a raccoon or being a tree and being part of the Marvel franchise really doesn't have that much to do with race. The raccoon and the tree were anthropomorphized, meaning they represented icons of people, which is to say, it's not that people are okay with trees, but they don't like certain skin colors. They like iconic representations of something that's actually good. If Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't a good movie, people wouldn't have gone to see the movie. Moore's producing credits also include 2021's Eternals and 2022's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, as well as the Disney Plus series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He also worked on projects such as 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier and 2016's Captain America: Civil War. Moore is credited with suggesting Black Panther make his debut in Civil War and for being a champion of the character in general. Quote, Nate is a fantastic executive and colleague, as well as a wonderful friend to all of us here at Marvel Studios. He's been a core member of our team since 2010, and his influence will continue to reverberate in our storytelling. Although we'll miss him a great deal, we look forward to watching what he does next, whilst also having the good fortune of working with him in a new way on our next Black Panther movie. According to Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito in a statement, they're going to be working with him in a new way on Black Panther 3 because he's not going to be in charge of Black Panther 3. He's not going to have much influence at all, except to essentially make suggestions. And really, if they were so excited to continue working with him, he would have had a producing deal. There's no hint of any kind that they're inviting him to work with Marvel on any other projects other than what's listed. No hint, no suggestion, no implication. The implication is quite the opposite, that they wanted him to leave on good terms. They don't need him bad-mouthing the company. Black Panther is important because it's going to be their black superhero character that they are going to continue. Hopefully Black Panther 3 will do well for them. But they're not going to do a lot more progressive, Marvel reinterpreted, reimagined kinds of projects. And they don't need the last potentially successful one, which probably can be Black Panther again, become a point of contention or make them look bad. If they're doing one movie like that, they'll do just fine. If they try to do a series of movies like that, they know they're going to have problems. They need to keep their relationship good with Nate Moore, because if they don't, it's damaging to the rest of the Marvel brand and their reputation. In his earlier days, Nate helped develop the Guardians of the Galaxy script in the Marvel's Writers Program, which helped up-and-coming writers tackle Marvel's library for potential movies. Before Marvel, he was a founding employee at Participant Media, the failed purpose-driven studio. Quote, "Nearly everything I know about producing, I've learned from my time at Marvel Studios," said Moore. Quote, "I feel lucky to have worked with a group of people who love filmmaking and storytelling as much as my Marvel colleagues and the cast and crew of our films. But I couldn't be more excited to apply my experience and passion to film towards theatrical movies in all genres, including returning to the world of Wakanda for Black Panther 3. When they hired this guy out of Participant Media, they knew exactly what he was all about. He did pretty much what they asked of him. It's no longer got any commercial viability. Nobody wants it. There's no successful brand anymore at Marvel to ruin so that he could feed off of it and push out his progressive agendas. This is someone who literally has no purpose at Marvel anymore. How could he possibly have stayed? And from Comic Book News, MCU producer Nate Moore exits Marvel, follows rumors of woke executives getting fired. Following the rumors that Marvel fired all its woke executives that ruined the MCU, now it's learned that Nate Moore is exiting Marvel. The news also follows the reports that Captain America: Brave New World has been a disaster with massive reshoots and a ballooning budget, and only comes 2 months before the film's release. Nate Moore is the Marvel producer who went woke with Eternals. It was his idea to replace the original characters from the comics with a diverse cast. How'd that go? Not so good. He's also the same guy that said he won't hire writers that read the comics. We're talking about comic book movies and TV shows here. The director of Secret Invasion revealed that he was told not to read the comics. How'd that go? Not so good. Following the massive failure of Secret Invasion, Kevin Feige overhauled their TV division, including retooling Daredevil Born Again, exactly as predicted by Comic Book News. Now it's known that Ironheart won't be following the comics. While that may not be a bad thing when it comes to the main character, the show's villain is the Hood, who will be a gangster turned activist from Chicago, along with Riri Williams. Yet, this is what they're doing. Anthony Ramos revealed that he didn't read the comics, but he's putting a new fresh spin on the character to make it fit with the present day. Which is to say, it's gonna be bad. Nate Moore also produced Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which turned Namor into a Mexican person, which was referred to as Namore, which is funny because it sounds a lot like Nate Moore. Not that clever. The 90-pound Shuri also becomes Black Panther, and the film forces the use of Ironheart onto the fans, who has no reason to be in this movie whatsoever. Moore is also listed as producing Armor Wars, which was supposed to feature Ironheart if that movie ever comes out. Iron Wars was first pitched to be a TV series that they said they decided, you know what, we're going to turn this into a movie instead. At the time, I had to say, no, there's no way they're going to take a TV series like this and turn that into a movie. Ultimately, Disney did do that with what became Moana 2, but I still don't expect that to happen for Armor Wars. It's not coming out. Again, Moore is also producing Captain America: Brave New World, which reportedly has gone through nearly a dozen reshoots and massively ballooned the budget. Anthony Mackie is Captain America in the film. Moore also produced The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's rumored that they killed off Sebastian Stan's Bucky in Thunderbolts. Nate Moore is technically staying at Marvel until the new Captain America movie comes out. Though, obviously, he's not going to be starting any new projects there because they're not permitting him to work on any new projects. Moore will be working on Black Panther 3, which Denzel Washington let slip. Although, was that a slip or was that a favor to Nate Moore? It feels kind of like a favor to Nate Moore, so that if Nate Moore leaves Marvel, he at least leaves with the Black Panther 3 project under his belt. At least Nate Moore got a little bit more time than the head of Paramount TV. From The Hollywood Reporter, Paramount TV studios shutting down amid major restructuring and layoffs. Projects at the Nicole Clemens-led unit will move under the CBS Studios umbrella. This is the head of Paramount TV. She was told like on a Tuesday that come this Friday, this entire unit is shut down. No producing deal for her either. And it just means if you're not making the kind of things that these studios need to actually retain audience, make money, get people into movie theaters, get them to watch their streaming subscriptions, if you're not capable of doing that, they don't need you there. They don't need you to inject your progressive ideas into their films and TV shows, causing them to lose audience interest instead of gain audience interest, damage their stocks, damage their profitability, and run the companies out of business. So they are getting rid of these people. It does take some time, but they're doing it. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.